fix my shirt tomorrow.
Well, I'm recording now, Nicole, as you did that, because I hit the button. It's okay, all we saw was a giant mass of blue.
Okay, that's good.
So, alright. I'm Mark Duggar.
I'm the now fixed Nicole Dickson.
Excellent. Though I don't know if you want to say it like that. The now fixed Nicole. Anyway, so alright.
Now we're getting into a whole. See, I just pulled it down again, though. I think I want to do these thing. I think it's what it is.
That
I'm
must
like,
be.
I want to. Like, I need jellies and little bands.
Right.
Okay. Anyways,
okay, so I had a dream the other day. When I got home, I went to sleep, and my dream took hold of me, and it was a dream which was very, very. It revolved around pizza entirely,
okay.
much as my life does. So it's not really that surprising.
That makes
So
total
the
sense.
start of the dream is I'm driving. And like, this is just the intro point is I'm driving in my car, and I'm like, oh, I need to go get pizza. So I drive to the nearest department store, which is like Walmart-esque or something, and then I
Okay.
get there, and there's this huge crowd of people outside, and I can't get anywhere near the doors, and I'm like, oh gosh, I've got to get into the doors, but I can't. No, there's no way in. So I finally just like, okay, fine. I go around back of the store, and I find one of the employee-only entrances to the store, and I'm waiting and waiting as employees come and go and come and go, and I wait for that right moment where someone opens the door, and I see my window of opportunity, and I dash inside. And of course, all the employees are like, who are you? What are you doing? You're not allowed to be back here. So they all start chasing me, and I'm like, get him, get that guy. And I'm running through, dashing, darting, trying to dodge people grabbing at me, and finally I slam through the doors onto the sales floor, and I quickly lose all the employees in the crowd of people that are in the store. So now I've gotten away, and I'm like making my way through the crowd of people to the frozen pizza section. I get there and find, to my horror, Nicole, that there are no frozen pizzas left. They are all gone. But you know what's there? There are display pizzas. Display pizzas, which are not a thing. They're not a thing that's done. You don't have display pizzas in department stores. But this one had display, as if to taunt me with the absence of purchasable pizzas.
Right. So like plastic food that you can't eat, but they're just
Yeah.
like, ah, fuck you.
Exactly. It's exactly it. So I see those, curse the gods, and I make my way out of the store through the crowds of people. I get to my car, and I start driving in, and I'm like, okay, now I got to go find somewhere else, a pizzeria, anywhere that I can get pizza at. I'm driving, and this is when I realize it's winter, because up until this point I didn't realize that, but I realize now that it's winter, because all of a sudden I lose control of my car, and it slides down this little hill incline thing on the snow, and I'm like, ah! And now I'm worried because my car is potentially stuck and or damaged, and if it is, then it means that my chances of getting to pizza are next to none.
So pizza is still the main motivator in this
Pizza
dream.
is still the main motivator here. Even in this
Okay.
moment, it has not lost its focus. So I get out,
Wow.
I survey the hill, and I realize, well, the snow is just thin enough, and the hill isn't too steep. If I'm really careful and slow, I might be able to inch my car up out of the hill and back onto the road. So I get in my car, and inch by inch, I make it back up the hill. All the while, I'm always nervous that it's going to go sliding back down again. And finally, I make it back up onto the road. I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay, so I keep driving, and finally I see a pizzeria, and I'm like, yes, somewhere that it specifically is its purpose, its reason for existence is the providing of pizza to its clientele. So I stop, I park, I get out, I go inside to find out, Nicole, that they have sold their last pizza just before I got there, and they have no more dough, they can't make anything else, all of their supplies are gone. That was the last one. And I'm like, no! Pizza! You don't understand how much I need pizza right now. So I leave, and as I go outside, my car is gone. And it's just nowhere to be found. So I get out my little key clicker, and I'm like pressing the button, and I can't even hear the beep beep of my car. It's nowhere to be.
I love that thing.
I know, right?
How did we exist before those? No, I'm sorry to interrupt your story for a
No.
while, but fucking seriously, like I don't know how people existed Did they just walk around parking lots and like search for cars?
Well, actually,
What?
Nicole, you know what I think really happened is people actually remembered where they parked. I know. I know. It's a crazy concept, but parking rows, as I understand it, used to be more commonly lettered and or numbered, and maybe still are today, but we just don't pay attention because we have the little key clicker thingies. So now we don't need to, so we don't. We were like, oh, look, there's a number at this row, but why would I take the time to remember that? I
Yeah,
come
fuck
back,
that. I don't need that fucking number. I'll just hit my clicker.
I'll just hit the clicker.
Poor people would know. We should ask poor people.
But Nicole, I am a poor person. And
No, you're not a poor person. And see, that's the thing about poverty. Like, it's interesting. Like, poverty is a sliding scale. Like, you think you're poor, but you're not poor. You're not poor if you have a DVD player. Like, there are people in this country that don't have DVD players. They have VHSs still, and they watch them. That is poor. You are poor at that point.
that's
You
fair. I'll give you
you
that.
can't afford a DVD player. Fuck Blu-ray. I just mean DVD.
No, no, no. I know what you
Um, if you can't afford a car with a clicker, you're a poor person.
mean. You're a poor
I,
person.
you know, I feel like you might be a poor
You might
person.
be a poor person. Well,
If
my cousin John, his truck doesn't have automatic locks, which I mean, it's a newer truck, but there wasn't a feature that he went and had on it when he bought it, and that to me seems archaic now because almost every truck and or car has the electronic little locky thing. Um, so to me it's weird, but anyway, so I'm pressing the little key clicky thingy, and I can't even hear the beep beep of my car anywhere. And I'm frantically looking around, and I can't find it. And finally, I stumble past these couple of buildings and this alleyway. And I look down this alleyway, and down this alleyway, there's this giant fence that blocks it off from getting to the other side. And I don't know how I knew this, but I saw that fence, and my brain just went, "Your car is on the other side of that fence, Mark." And I was like, "Ah, it is." So I walk down the alleyway, I get to the fence, I'm right next to it, I hit my key clicker, and I hear the beep beep from my car on the other side. I'm like, "Yep, there it is." Then, just as this happens, a group of people comes around the corner of the alleyway and looks down. I look back and I see them, and it's a bunch of the employees from the store that I had run through the back room of, accompanied by a few police officers. And there's that.
feels like Mad Max.
It is. So there's that brief moment of they see me, I see them. They see me, I see them. And then finally one of them just goes, "That's the guy! Get him!" And they come tearing down the alleyway at me. And I'm like, crap! So I start scrambling to get over this fence in time. And just as I reach the top, they reach the bottom of the fence and start shaking it. I jump over the other side and I land, and I realize as I land, I look forward, and the entire street I've landed on is lined with cars that all look like my car. And I'm like, oh, how am I ever going to find my car and all this? I'm hitting the little clicky button, and I hear my car beeping somewhere in the distance, but I can't see lights flashing. I don't see anything else. So I'm running to each car going, "Oh, are you it? Are you the one? Ah, you're not the
So
one."
it's like Mirror Man, but with cars.
Yeah, so it's like Mirror Man, but with cars. And so I'm going to each one, trying to figure out which one's my car. I look back, the mob of employees and police officers has made it over the fence now, and I don't know when they got the torches and pitchforks, but they had them. And they're running at me now, and I'm like, oh, God! So I'm just bolting up the street, frantically clicking the button. I'm almost out of breath. I'm staggering at this point, and I'm losing hope, and all I can think is, I'm never going to make it to pizza. I'm gonna get caught and thrown in prison, and they won't serve pizza in prison. And
Go
I'm
ahead.
so depressed. And then I hit the button one last time, and I hear the beep beep, and this time I see the lights of my car flash ahead of me. And I'm like, look, I can make it. I can just make it. So I put on one last burst of speed, make it to my car. I jump inside, and I start trying to gun it away. Only, again, it's winter, and there's snow on the ground. So my tires just spin, and I'm like, ah! The mob is almost on top of my car when finally the tires get traction and the car lurches and zooms ahead, and I finally put distance between me and the mob, and I turn out onto a street, and all I can think is, all right, I made it out of that. Now, to find pizza. And then I woke up. And as I woke up, all I could think was, oh God, I have to go get pizza today. Well,
Wow.
that was my pizza dream.
That is epic. That is an epic. Well, you're reading the Odyssey right now too, so that might have something to do with it.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. That's true. I wrote that whole thing out, by the way, and put it up on the Friends of Mark Duggar page on Facebook. So if you want to,
I've seen along the line. I haven't read it, but I've seen the thing that said, pizza or whatever. And I was like,
the
I
tag.
saw people posting about pizza. So that's what I thought it was. I thought it was you were asking people to post about pizza or something.
No, Nicole, I never ask anybody to post about pizza. They just do because they know me.
They know you. Um,
But yeah, so that was my pizza dream, and it was intense.
what's your Myers-Briggs?
Huh?
Your Myers-Briggs personality thingy?
I don't offhandedly know, Nicole. I'm not sure. How would I go about?
When we're done this thing we're gonna do, not this, but this chat.
Not this, but
With
this.
recording.
Right.
Exactly. When we're done, and it's just us. I want to show you something.
Okay.
On-
That sounds ominous and or risque.
or um, I'm pink now. No, it's a Myers-Briggs thing. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I have to hold on a second. Somebody popped up. I got to take this for just a second.
What?
Blah 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 blah. What am I looking at?
I don't know. I can't see your computer screen. I have no idea. Well, maybe that. I guess that should be. You're looking at your computer screen, Nicole. What else would you know?
That's what I'm looking at. I'm trying to. They're saying something, but I have to say something back, but I don't know what to say. They're saying good night, so I should probably just say good night.
Yes.
But there's more I want to say, but I don't know what it is.
Well, then just say good night, and then
I think I'll just leave it at that.
would be best. If you don't know what else to say, or you could just say that. Say good night. I want to say something else, but I'm not sure what it is, so I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to say good night, and then repeat it again.
All right. I just about typed. Oh, I remember, but I didn't tell them I didn't forget. They'd be like, "Random lunch?" I'd be like, "Yes, actually."
Well, that's
It is me. Okay.
I always love the click clackety of keys.
I do too. I really do. Like, oh my God. Oh my, I love you. Like, totally, I love that sound. Like, I just think it's so, sexy is not even the word, but
Right.
it's close.
I agree.
I don't
There's something soothing almost, and just enjoyable about.
For me, it's like it harkens back to like a 1950s era, but I don't know why.
Right.
It's like you feel like you're in a big office with people typing
For
and
me, it's like I'm doing something important. Do you hear those keys clicking away?
yeah,
I'm
and
getting
it's
something done.
and you're like all like secretary, like I akin it to people who can play the piano. Like just the fingers that move on their own, and you're like, wow,
Yeah.
that's sexy.
I gotta
Like,
say, it's impressive. And some people, and I'm an okay typist, but I'm not phenomenal at it by any stretch of the imagination. Some people can just fly across a keyboard, and you're like, all right, you just typed out like 3 paragraphs in 2 seconds with no errors. How you did that, I don't know. Your fingers are magic.
Right, right, and then just in the sound is like, and you're like, woo! No, oh my God, that's so funny that you like that as much as I do, because I really like that a lot, and I've always thought I was strange, like not strange, but like I've thought,
Well,
like who thinks like that? Well, clearly we do, but like who who else thinks these? There was a thing. I'm trying to remember who it was or what it was, but oh, it was one of my favorite movies. It was As Good as It Gets.
oh,
Um, which you've seen. Did I make you watch it? Have you watched it yet? I made somebody watch it. Dan, you've watched it and you hated it. Oh my God! Now we're gonna have a
no,
discussion.
I've not watched it.
Oh, okay. Well, then at least you didn't watch it and hate it,
I
because
was
then,
slinking away in shame.
whoa. I was gonna say, whoa, would there be an issue at that point? Like we might argue.
um,
Actually,
we've
I'd be like, oh, how could you hate that movie?
we've
You
disagreed
can't.
on things. I know we've
We have.
disagreed on things, but in general, our tastes are very similar. So I feel like that's a rarity.
Yeah, you'd probably love the movie. I would challenge you to go, not challenge, but I would encourage you to go out and see it, or not go out because it's not out anymore. It's like fucking years old, but you know who's in it, right? It's
Um, it's Jack Nicholson, Helen Hunt, um, Shirley Knight, Cuba
mhm.
Gooding Jr., Greg
Right.
Kinnear.
And I'm not a fan of Cuba Gooding Jr. normally. Like I'm like, but he's quite good in this film. He it's one of his better films, I think.
Oh,
And Greg Kinnear is brilliant in it as well. Of course, Jack Nicholson is Jack Nicholson, but who gives the standout performance is Helen Hunt. I think it's her best work.
huh.
Um, she has this one monologue that, in my opinion, is one of the best female monologues. Period.
Really?
Period. Um, it is so good. It's got levels and range and motion and moments, and it's got everything you need in a monologue. Um, and
Hmm.
it's it's wow, it's really fucking, because it's funny, but it's good. Um, but in that monologue, or at the end of it, or she has a line where she goes, who who needs these thoughts, or who thinks these thoughts, and every time I think to myself, who thinks these thoughts, I hear her voice in my head.
Oh, okay.
um and then, but so like the keys thing, I think to myself, who thinks like this? Like who? But you know who it is? It's you.
It's me.
You
It's
think
it's
like
me,
this.
Nicole. I mean, I
Oh,
I feel this. There are things that when I go through the course of a day, and I'll think of something on the fly where I'll just be like, "Oh, this amuses me," and then I'm like, "Who else in the world looks at their surroundings and just like picks and chooses these weird little things and then goes, "Oh, that's funny. Oh, I like that," or follows things to weird conclusions, and I know who it is, Nicole.
it's me. No, but no, I'm serious. That's so, see. So anyway, so the Myers-Briggs thing. So I have another friend, and well, I have several, but this particular person I was talking with, um, and I was curious, um, about a couple of things. But basically, we ended up at a Myers-Briggs site, and it basically it lets you do your own Myers-Briggs personality test, but then
Uh-huh.
also do it for your friend.
Oh,
So
okay.
like, so you do you, and then you do your friend. Um, and then at the end, you can send them your results or you send them their results or whatever, and you basically see what your friend thinks about you and what you think about yourself, or so like you wouldn't know what I thought and I would know what you thought. um but so this friend of mine and I um are complete opposites. I'm an ENFP, which is uh intuitive, no, extroverted, intuitive, feeling, perceiving.
Okay.
um and he's an INTJ, which is introvert, thinking, or introvert, intuitive, thinking, judging.
Hmm.
Um, so like completely.
I think I remember when I was in Dallas, I was hanging out with a couple of friends at a theater I was working at, and they ran through some of the basics of this, what you're talking about. And I vaguely remember taking like the questionnaire, but I don't remember like what I got or whatever.
uh, so like I said, when we're done, we should take it because
Oh,
it's short. I'm curious, and the really weird part is with me and my friend
mhm.
is when we did it, we got each other's. So like he called me an ENFP, and I called him an INTJ. And so at the end, he was like, "So what are you really?" And I'm like, "I'm an ENFP." And I was like, "What are you?" And he's like, "I'm an INTJ." And I was like, "Holy shit! I Myers-Briggs you." Do you get what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
that's like somebody really fucking well when you can do their Myers-Briggs.
Right, right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
No, I do. I know. I understand. That's funny
Um,
though.
so yeah, I was like success. So that was pretty cool. But yeah. So I would be interested to know if you are an ENFP or if you're not. Like, because we're a lot alike. We're definitely both extroverts. That's done. There is no, you're not an introvert. You might have been one in the past, but you're not
But I
anymore.
transformed like a
You did
caterpillar turning into a
like a
butterfly.
butterfly. I used to also love butterflies, but I don't know if I do anymore. My
I I think butterflies are cool, and part of the reason I think they're cool is because I've seen like microscopic footage of their wings, and it's astounding. I didn't.
well,
It never really occurred to me. They're scaly. They have scales like any other, I guess, bug or reptile probably has in some form or fashion. But it's really cool, and you can some of them you can change the color by them being backlit or frontlit. I was like, what? What?
that's fucking cool.
So nifty. So I have a greater appreciation for butterflies now because of all of the some of the science into what they are and how they. Also, did you know that when they turn from caterpillars into butterflies, their body almost completely liquefies, and that there is a series of cells that are essentially responsible for reformulating the matter into the butterfly form that they become. And because what the caterpillar is, there's no way for it to just, physically change itself in its current way into a butterfly. It has to pretty much completely liquefy into this jelly-like substance before it reformulates all of its cellular structure into what a butterfly is. And
Jesus.
and on top of that, it can like it still possesses memory of itself as a caterpillar. Like it still, like, as far as animals have memory, it still possesses like instincts, things it learned
Oh,
through through its
I was
period
gonna
as a
say,
cat.
how did they test that? You can't fucking test that. They didn't give them little electrodes, little
How do
butterfly.
you know, Nicole? No, but like instinctual things that you could see them pick up as caterpillars, they retain as butterflies. Um, so really cool. I was like, all right, now I not only appreciate butterflies on their surface level of beauty, but also in the depth of their intricacies.
Oh, That's kind of cool.
The more you know.
No, because butterfly, I just like butterflies because they're like, they kind of flip. They're butterflies. They're just like, hey, I'm a butterfly. What's up? I'm
Right.
gonna go over here. Now I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna
Okay.
go to this flower.
I don't know what movie it was, and I largely don't care because it looked like a romancy flick that I wouldn't care about much at all. Um, but it was on TV or whatever, and Joanne and them were watching it, and I walked through, and this woman walks into this room full of butterflies, but they're all CG butterflies, and I was watching them and going, because they're flapping like crazy and barely moving at all, and I'm going, that's the most unrealistic set of butterflies I have ever seen, because there's not a single butterfly in the world that flaps its wings that fast and just like casually hovers there and moves so slowly from point A to point B. And then, and because of that, and I know it's silly, and this is just my brain, but because of that, because I couldn't accept the reality of the butterflies, the entire scene that followed, like the suave guy walking in and like talking to her, and like you can tell they're in love. None of that, I couldn't buy any of it. I thought it was all ridiculous because they're surrounded by these obviously
Fuck
crappy.
you, people, and your fake fucking butterflies. I don't fucking care if you're in love, right? Fuck you.
Yeah, you're in love
Thing
and you're
wasn't like
happy.
a
I
scene
don't give a
about, like
shit.
it's a good thing it wasn't like a scene about, like childhood cancer or something. You'd be like, you know what? Fuck you and your child. That'd be that'd be
Um,
a little. I don't believe this reality you've constructed.
I do not buy into the world that you are building for me right now because it is clearly supposed to mimic real life and is failing to do so.
Failing.
I will
No,
not.
I could get behind that. Like fake butterflies. You'd be like, no, no. First of all, how fucking hard would it be to grow real butterflies? Not hard. Not hard. I mean, unless they're out of season or whatever. I don't know if butter. I mean, there is a season for butterflies. I mean, I'm not making it sound like blueberries, but like
Everybody, it's butterfly season. We're gonna go
that's
harvest
how
the
it goes.
butterflies.
Butterflies
Caterpillar
on a
season, butterfly season, caterpillar season, butterfly season, butterfly season, fire!
um. No, yeah, no, butterflies are fucking cool. The thing that freaked me out when I found out about butterflies, this has become the butterfly blog, by the way. Just um, no, the thing that I found fascinating about butterflies was the little powdery shit on their wings, and like if you knock it off or whatever, they fucking can't fly anymore.
That's the powder. That's the scales, Nicole.
Oh,
That's you when you like brush their wings or whatever, and then you see the little dust. Those are butterfly scales.
oh my God!
That's what I was talking about. Which would be why,
Wow.
if you rip enough of them off, they can't fly because you've just like ripped holes in their wings.
Oh my
Smaller,
God.
perhaps, than you might be able to see, but enough to throw off their ability to fly.
Well, I didn't. I mean, I never did it on purpose. I was never like, fuck this dust. It's making me sound like Hannibal Lecter and shit.
Oh my goodness. I just imagine
Yeah.
someone going, I'm gonna rub all of the powder off of your wing, and you are not there. Try to fly. Ha! Ha! You can't now.
Fuck
Yeah.
you, butterfly, in your falsely fucking constructed world. Um,
Those
no. Oh, so to go back to a former blog, even though it wasn't a blog because nobody was listening then, but a former discussion of ours, if you will, and the thing that fucking freaks me. First of all, have you ever watched a show? It's called Brain Games.
I've heard of it, but I've not watched it.
Really good fucking show. You start watching it. Um, but on Brain Games the other day, they were talking about color, maybe vision, sight, something. How your brain visually processes stuff. Because of course, it's all about how your brain does this and how your brain does that.
Right.
But it was talking about perception or vision or something. But they got into um, basically what is perception, kind of. Um, you and I have talked about this, I think, and it was
Yeah.
the whole idea of color and how what we perceive as a particular color is not necessarily what the thing actually is.
Yeah.
Like like flowers, like daisies or whatever, how bees see them, the way the way that makes more sense, because like they see like the target inside the flower because they can see in ultraviolet light. So they see what the flower looks like in ultraviolet light. And in ultraviolet light, it's like a fucking target. It's like, hey, here I am. We're all the fucking pollen in the middle. Come get us. Whereas to us, we don't see that. We don't see
Yeah.
this target. Um, I thought that was fucking fascinating. I was like, oh my God. And like, how like and like sci-fi people talk about this too, where like for a planet or whatever, you've probably seen the things where like on Mars, what would trees look like? And the trees are like fucking black. And you're like,
Well, I mean,
and they're like, well, yeah, it would make sense for it to be a black tree there because
yeah.
photosynthesis wouldn't exist and blah 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 blah, or it would exist in a different way. And I was like, wow. And then like blow your fucking mind, like maybe our trees are black, but we don't see that. We see green or whatever. I was just like, wow.
Well, the entire world as we perceive it, the whole visuals, everything about that, um, is largely a product of what our eyes are able to take in and our brains able to process. And those two things
Right,
dictate everything. The sky's blue because light refracts the way that it does through our atmosphere because of the sun. You get rid of our atmosphere, we wouldn't have a blue sky. We'd have a black sky. We would just see the stars all the time. You know,
right.
stuff like that. So no, I know what you're talking about, and it is completely fascinating. It's 100%.
Yeah,
It's
because it's like, well,
astounding.
I'm perceiving this, but this is not reality. But
Humans
even
have
like,
we have such a limited perspective on the entirety of the color spectrum, as it were, all the different wavelengths of color and whatnot. Like we can see only this much. It's insane. I'm trying to it's some kind of shrimp or seahorse thing. I think it was like the oatmeal did a post about it or whatever. It's this crazy like shrimp thing. It's got its eyes and its ability to see is insane. It can see almost the full spectrum of like ultraviolet to
infrared.
yeah, like everything. It's got this huge wide ranging spectrum of color and vision. And it's just I'm reading about that, I'm going, holy crap! Its eyes are insanely developed, and I'm just going, oh, imagine if we could see some of that stuff. It would be so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Well,
universe is full of just wide ranging stuff. It's just like, we can't even notice.
but because we're not equipped to. Well, and the entire reason we developed color vision in the first place was, an adaptable idea because we became binocular stereoscopic color vision individuals. Yes, I pulled that out from anthropology. Thank you, Stuart McRae.
I saw that.
Um,
Well
yeah,
played.
thank you, thank you. Well, it was Stuart McRae. I mentioned him twice now. He should get residuals or something. Um, no, he was my old anthropology professor. He's fucking brilliant. Like, how like you walk into somebody's class and you're like, and they just become like God. You're just like,
Yes.
wow, Stuart was God.
I,
You just walked in and you wanted to please that man, and there were some fucking morons in our class. I mean,
well, aren't there always?
and I was like, how can you not care about what this man is saying? First of all, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
And second of all, he's a brilliant fucking orator. Like he just commanded a room. And then there were these fucktards in our class that were just like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And so like I remember he turned, and of course some of them were absolutely gorgeous, but not all, but some. And he would turn to, whatever Daisy or whatever the fuck her name was, and he'd be like, so what did I just say? And she'd be like, um, you were talking about New World monkeys, that are from Europe and Africa, and he's like, no, no, that is not what I was talking. Um, What happened just to it?
Nicole, I'm not kidding. College, a lot of the people who take courses in college, I feel like nowadays in particular, and it's been going on for years, I'm sure, are just there because they've been told that they should and they have to be or whatever, and so they are, but they don't care. They've never been encouraged to care about things.
See, and that's the sad thing about learning, I guess, because college is higher learning. That is what it is there for. You are supposed to care about the classes that you're sitting
I
in.
know. I know that's the tragedy. I feel in general, as far as America at least is concerned, the one of the biggest hurdles we face as far as education is concerned is just getting people to care about being educated. I mean, just in my work environment, I've encountered a number of people who, when I talk about learning new things, look at me and they're like, why would you even want to learn about that? Like, why would you care?
You're going to sleep? You want me to shut my door? Is that what you're getting at? No. Okay, I'm glad you got home. How was your date? Good. Seeing the ladies again? Nice. Very nice. Your hair is bizarre. Does it hurt to talk? Oh. I feel like I'm dealing with Charlie Chaplin right now. No, I'm serious. My roommate's being absolutely fucking silent. I'm talking to Mark, by the way. Duggar, yeah, come on over. You are so strange. Daniel's being strange. What? Yes, Mark. I know what you want me to tell him.
Ah,
Friendship is magic.
ah,
I know. You're
ah.
welcome, Dan. Where did why are you doing this? Yes, you. You should see what I'm seeing right now, Mark. It's like Dan is doing like this whole Chaplin-esque.
Oh gosh.
Like,
You think that's actually really good.
he's pretty good.
That's
He's
pretty
flexible.
good. I like that.
Flexible. Um, so yeah, so that's what he did was since he's walked into the room. He's just been opening soda cans and I don't know, making shit. But don't you dare lick my feet. Don't.
Okay, on that note, let's go ahead. I'm going to cut the recording.
I feel like I'm talking to Freya.
So, all right, we'll resume recording on another occasion with your horrified expression there, and that's what we'll end with. All right, so goodbye, everybody. Say goodbye, Nicole.
Oh, goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. Hold on. Say goodbye, Dan. Come on, wait. Where is he? Where'd he go? There you go. Okay, Dan.
And that's
Anything?
Dan. Goodbye, Dan.